Leo, let me say this right away. There is a very real, very specific date when everything begins to shift for you. I'm not talking about vague change. I mean financial movement, emotional clarity, karmic payback, and it's already in motion. That's what this video is really about. Not hype. Not guessing. But timing. Divine timing. The exact moment when things start making sense and the money, the abundance you've been energetically owed finally starts flowing toward you. Now, you probably didn't plan to hear this today. Maybe you just stumbled across this, or maybe something inside nudged you to click. Either way, it matters. Because you're here. And that's not an accident. That's alignment. That's energy doing what it does best, connecting the right message to the right soul at the right time. Truth is, Leo, you've been carrying a lot lately. More than you've shown others. You've smiled through uncertainty, pushed forward when no one was watching, and tried your best to stay positive even when things felt off. Especially around money. Like no matter what you did, how much you planned, worked, saved, something always felt blocked. Delayed. Stuck. Like there was this invisible wall you couldn't name but definitely felt. And deep down, maybe you even started to wonder, is it me? Let me be clear, it's not you. What you've been feeling isn't failure. It's interference. Someone knowingly or unknowingly has been pouring energy into your field that was never meant to be there. Whether it was envy, judgment, manipulation, or just unresolved projection, it's been lingering like a fog over your flow. But that fog is lifting. And that exact date we'll talk about? It's when clarity returns. When abundance breaks through. This moment isn't just about knowing what's coming. It's about preparing your energy to receive it fully. You're not broken, Leo. You're just being recalibrated. And the universe has been working behind the scenes to realign the path in your favor. What was delayed wasn't denied. It was protected. That money? That opportunity? That breakthrough? It needed time to become undeniable. So when it hits, and there will be no question that it's yours. What I'm asking you to do right now is simple but powerful. Stay with me. Be present. Because every word in this message is for your heart, not just your head. This is more than astrology. It's a conversation between your soul and your future. And if anything I've said so far has made you feel seen, then lean in. We're just getting started. Also, if you're ready to anchor this moment, to claim the shift, I want to invite you to leave a comment below. Just write, "I'm ready for my breakthrough." Because saying it out loud, even digitally, creates resonance. It starts the flow. And it shows the universe that you're not just hoping anymore, you're choosing. And let me pause for a second to thank you for being here. Your time, your energy, your presence, it's not something I take lightly. Every comment, every like, every share you've given to this channel helps build something sacred. A space where real transformation happens. Where we rise together. And Leo, today in this exact video you're going to hear something that confirms what your intuition has been whispering all along. So stay with me. Because what the universe is about to reveal isn't just important. It's personal. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why you were meant to hear it now, not sooner, not later, but now. Have you felt it, Leo? That strange weight on your chest when everything else around you seems fine? The way your energy dips for no clear reason, or how your plans, no matter how well thought out, just stall. It's not your imagination. You've been sensing something real. The invisible tension, the resistance, that lingering sense of being watched or judged or blocked, that's energy. And energy doesn't lie. You see, sometimes in life, especially for powerful signs like Leo, our light becomes too bright for certain people to handle. And instead of healing their own shadows, they project them onto us. That projection, whether it's jealousy, silent resentment, or subtle manipulation, becomes like an energetic net. You don't see it, but you feel it. And the truth is, many of us go through life under these invisible constraints without knowing why we feel so tired, so stuck, so unlike ourselves. We start to doubt our choices, question our path, and wonder if maybe, just maybe, we're the ones doing something wrong. But here's what I've learned, and maybe this speaks to you, too. Energy doesn't just disappear. It lands somewhere. And sometimes, it lands on us. Especially when we're open-hearted. Especially when we're in a season of growth. Especially when we're standing right on the edge of breakthrough. In astrology, we often talk about retrogrades and dark moon phases as times when shadows come to the surface. But not all shadows are yours. Some are sent. That's what makes this moment so significant. Because what you've been feeling isn't internal chaos, it's spiritual interference. And now, finally, that interference is coming to light. Imagine yourself as a lion caught in a snare, strong, majestic, built for victory, but tangled in wires you didn't weave. That's what this energy has been like. A trap made of other people's projections, holding you back from the financial flow, the clarity, the purpose that's already yours. But here's the turning point: awareness. The moment you recognize the trap is the moment you begin to step out of it. The law of attraction reminds us that we draw to us what we're vibrating at. But it also teaches us to become conscious of what we've been absorbing unconsciously. So if you've been picking up on heaviness, misalignment, even spiritual burnout, it might not be yours to carry. You could be absorbing energy sent your way out of fear, control, or even misunderstanding. That's why the spiritual principle of discernment is so critical right now. And while I won't point fingers, I will say this: when someone sends out low vibrations toward a pure-hearted soul like you, especially during a time of transition or ascension, that energy always returns. Always. The universe has a built-in boomerang effect. It's not about punishment. It's about balance. And balance is being restored. So if lately, you've found yourself second-guessing your intuition, questioning your value, or feeling like your abundance is slipping through your fingers, I want you to pause. Breathe. You're not falling behind. You've just been in a fog that was never yours to begin with. That fog is lifting now. The energy that tried to restrict you is collapsing under its own weight. And you, Leo, you are remembering what it feels like to move freely again. You've already done the hardest part, surviving the pressure. What comes next is clarity, motion, and yes, money. But more importantly, it's your power returning. That fire inside you is no longer dimmed by invisible forces. It's being reignited by truth. And this, right here, is the moment it all begins. Let it in. And if you feel even a flicker of recognition in your soul, leave a comment below to affirm it. Say, I release what's not mine. I rise into my light. Because the moment you say it, the moment you own it, everything starts to shift. Sometimes, we think silence from the universe means we've been forgotten. That because nothing is happening on the surface, nothing is happening at all. But if you've ever watched a seed grow, you'll know the deepest transformation happens underground, in darkness, before it breaks through the soil. And Leo, this is one of those moments. You might not have seen the signs clearly until now, but justice has already been unfolding quietly, powerfully, and with precision that only the cosmic order could orchestrate. Let's talk about karma. Not the pop spiritual version that people use to justify revenge or eye-for-an-eye behavior. I'm talking about real, universal cause and effect. The law that governs not just actions, but intentions. The law that says, what you put out into the world must come back. Not because someone is watching with a scorecard, but because energy has a direction and all energy seeks resolution. And the energy that was sent your way, whether it was rooted in jealousy, control, or fear, is now returning to its source. Not because you wished for it. Not because you wanted revenge. But because it was never meant to stay with you. I know you felt it. The internal tug of war between wanting peace and craving justice. The desire to move on, but also the ache of needing someone else to finally be exposed for what they've done behind closed doors. The truth is, Leo, you were never meant to fight that battle. Not directly. You were meant to rise. To preserve your integrity. And while you were doing that, while you were choosing dignity over drama, the universe was moving quietly behind the curtain, aligning every piece for what I call the Tower moment. In tarot, the Tower is a card people often fear. It represents destruction, upheaval, chaos. But here's what they don't always say: it only destroys what was built on lies. It only crumbles what was never meant to stand in the first place. And when it shows up in readings like this, when it's connected to energy sent to harm you, it's not a warning for you. It's a shift around you. It's the storm washing away the residue of manipulation, revealing the structures that were shaky all along. You're not the one falling apart. Someone else is. And not because you wished them harm, but because they kept feeding something unsustainable. Right alongside the Tower, we have Justice. The card that restores what was unfairly tipped against you. It's the rebalancing of power, of energy, of unseen dynamics that finally come to light. When justice shows up, it says clearly, I saw what you endured. I saw who smiled in your face while planning your fall. And I've been keeping the receipts. So, if you've been wondering when that turning point would come, when truth would be revealed, when peace would return, when your name would be cleared or your path unblocked, I need you to know, it's already begun. You're in the middle of the divine recalibration right now. And sometimes, the clearest proof is not in what happens to you, but in what starts happening around you. Have you noticed it yet? The unraveling of certain people. The way some stories no longer make sense. The way someone's mask is starting to slip and more people are noticing. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. If you've seen these signs, even quietly leave a comment below. Say, I see the shift. Because when you name what you notice, you ground it into your reality. You align with the truth that's already unfolding. Leo, the fall of their false foundation is the rise of your true one. The breakdown happening now is making space for your breakthrough. Trust it. Let it happen. And remember, you were never being punished. You were being protected at a level deeper than you knew. Your financial breakthrough has already been scheduled. I know that sounds bold, maybe even too good to be true, especially if you've been in a season where things felt heavy, uncertain, or just stuck. But when I look at the energy surrounding you, when I tune into the messages that have been coming through for Leo, it's clear, the shift you've been praying for, waiting for, quietly preparing for in your own way, it's coming faster than you think. And not in some vague, someday, sense. I'm talking about a specific window of time, a 14 to 21-day span, where everything starts to accelerate. In tarot, the Eight of Wands is known as the card of swift movement. It doesn't just suggest progress, it declares momentum. No more waiting around. No more delay. When this energy shows up, it means things that were once stagnant are now aligning with speed. And it often comes after a long pause, a spiritual waiting room, where you've had time to reflect, recalibrate, and whether you knew it or not, clear space for what's next. This is the part one want to emphasize. Breakthroughs rarely arrive in the way we expect. They don't always knock politely or show up dressed as miracles. Sometimes they slip in through a message, a phone call, a random opportunity that feels too aligned to be random at all. Sometimes they arrive as an old connection resurfacing with a different energy, or a new person who says something that flips a mental switch inside you. That's the kind of energy we're walking into now. Fast. Unpredictable. Liberating. Here's what you might notice in the coming days. A conversation that feels important even if it seems small. A delay that suddenly opens into movement. A closed door that begins to shift ever so slightly. An unexpected sum of money or opportunity that drops into your lap just when you were about to give up. These are not coincidences. This is flow being restored after months, maybe even years of resistance. Energetically speaking, Leo, you've cleared a lot. You've been pruning what no longer serves you, habits, people, beliefs, and because of that, your field is ready to receive. And it's not just about money. It's about permission. Permission to feel good again. Permission to trust again. Permission to say yes to things that light you up without guilt or fear of backlash. Because that's what abundance really is, the freedom to breathe without constraint, to choose from a place of alignment rather than survival. Now, I want to invite you to pay attention, not in a paranoid way, but in a sacred, intentional way. Tune into the subtle signs. Keep your heart open, your mind clear, and your body rested. Because when this energy hits, you'll want to be ready, not anxious, not skeptical, but available. Like a riverbank ready for the flood. And if you feel that deep, quiet sense that something is building, something is almost here, I encourage you to name it. Claim it. Anchor it in your field. Drop a comment below and write, "I'm ready to receive abundance." Because when you do, you're not just affirming it for yourself, you're sending a signal to the universe that you're not resisting anymore. You're ready. Open. Grateful. In flow. This next chapter wasn't delayed. It was divinely timed. And now, all that energy that once felt far away, it's moving fast and it's coming straight toward you. Watch how everything starts to unfold. Stay present. Stay soft. And above all, stay open. There's a moment, often quiet and deeply personal, when you realize the storm has passed. Not because the noise is gone, but because you've stopped identifying with the chaos. And Leo, this is that moment for you. Not the end of a battle, but the beginning of clarity. The sunlight after years of spiritual fog. And maybe you don't even fully recognize how much you've changed, but the world around you is about to reflect it back to you, in every area of your life. The energy I see in your field now is like a sunrise that refuses to be ignored. It's warm, powerful, radiant just like you. And in the language of tarot, this light shows up through 4 cards that speak not just of blessings, but of becoming. The Ace of Cups brings emotional renewal, not the shallow kind, but the kind that comes from genuine connection, from softening walls built during survival. It's that gentle yes from someone who sees your heart. It's laughter that doesn't feel heavy. It's intimacy that doesn't drain you. Whether this is romantic love, a soul-level friendship, or reconnection with your own inner truth, this energy flows to you when you're finally open to receive without fear of being harmed again. Right after that, the 6 of Wands rises, the card of visibility and recognition. After all you've been through, it's time the world sees the truth. Your strength. Your growth. Your grace. This card doesn't just speak of success, but of triumph, of you walking into a room and the energy shifting. You won't have to explain how much you've evolved, people will feel it. And the best part? You won't need their approval. You've already claimed yourself. Then there's the 4 of Wands celebration, stability, alignment. I've seen this card appear for people right before they move into a new home, commit to a new path, or step fully into a version of life that reflects their true values. This isn't about grand gestures. It's about real roots. Foundations that support joy instead of anxiety. And if you've been praying for a sign that it's time to start over, to step into something lighter, this is it. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from wisdom. And finally, the Sun. No card carries more unfiltered joy. This is the season you've been asking for, sometimes with words, often with tears. It's not a temporary high, it's a recalibration of your life. A shift into peace that feels earned. Fulfillment that doesn't feel forced. And yes, abundance, not just in money, but in meaning. You may find that everything from your health to your confidence starts improving, not because the world changed overnight, but because you did. The Sun is a mirror. And now, it's reflecting your true self, the one that no longer lives in reaction to pain, but in alignment with purpose. So here's what I want you to do, Leo. As this light returns, tend to it. Take care of your body, eat real food, get real rest. Not because you're broken, but because you're rebuilding. If your job drains you, explore new paths. If your finances feel scattered, make a plan. If your love life feels empty, fill your own cup first. These aren't tasks. They're acts of devotion. To yourself. To your future. To the version of you that never gave up even when you were tired of starting over. This is not a comeback. It's a rebirth. And I promise, everything ahead of you is brighter than what's behind. So if even one part of this message speaks to you, write it down. Share it below. Say, I am the light after the storm. Let that be your affirmation and let it guide you into this new chapter with softness and strength. Because Leo, your life isn't just returning to balance. It's beginning to bloom. There's a turning point in every healing journey where you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin realizing, "This taught me who I really am." And Leo, that's exactly where you are now. Not just surviving what you've been through, but stepping into a new state of being that's rooted in wisdom, strength, and clarity so sharp that nothing and no one can manipulate you the way they once did. This is what I call becoming energetically untouchable. The energy of the Queen of Wands is radiating through you now, and yes, that is Leo in her full fire. She doesn't chase. She doesn't convince. She doesn't wait for validation. She simply exists in her own light, and the world feels it. You've walked through betrayal. You've questioned your worth. You've doubted your intuition more times than you can count. But you kept going. And now? You no longer need to explain yourself to anyone. You've become someone who doesn't just see clearly, you sense deeply. You can walk into a room and instantly feel the tone shift. You can touch someone's hand, read their energy, and know whether their presence is healing or harmful. That's not paranoia. That's power. And with that power comes responsibility. Because not everyone who left your life will stay away. Some will try to return. They may show up softer, more humble, maybe even apologetic. But energy doesn't lie, Leo. You already know what they carry. You know what it felt like to question your own truth because someone else's energy was so loud, it drowned out your inner voice. That won't happen again unless you let it. And I know you won't. You've outgrown the version of you who needed closure. You've outgrown the version of you who confused love with tolerance. You're not bitter. You're boundaried. And that's a beautiful thing. This next phase is about protecting the peace you've worked so hard to find. Not from a place of fear, but from deep self-respect. You've earned your own trust. You've watched the universe bring everything full circle without you lifting a finger in revenge. And now it's time to maintain your field like a sacred temple. That means cleansing your space physically and energetically. Salt baths to clear residue. Writing down what you're releasing and watching it burn into smoke. Speaking to yourself in the mirror and reminding every part of your being, I am protected by divine fire, and I am moving toward my blessings. These rituals aren't just symbolic. They are energetic anchors. They remind you of who you are and what you stand for, not in theory, but in practice. They keep your frequency high so that only what's aligned can stay. And if something tries to sneak back in under the guise of change or healing, your energy will know. Your body will know. Your spirit will know. And you'll walk away with grace, not guilt. Leo, this is the version of you that no longer flinches. No longer over-explains. No longer waits for the world to validate your worth. This is the version of you that leads with quiet confidence, rooted in experience and lit by the fire of your own evolution. If you feel it, if you've tasted that shift even a little, claim it now. Say out loud, I am no longer who I was, and I welcome what is mine. Let it be your promise to yourself. Because this isn't the end of your healing. It's the beginning of your reign. You don't need anyone's permission to be abundant. That might sound simple, but let it land. You don't need to wait for a sign that you're worthy enough, or for someone else to validate that it's finally your turn. The truth is, Leo, it's always been your turn. You were born with light. Born with fire. Born with the potential to walk through darkness and still glow like the morning sun. And now, you're not just approaching a financial breakthrough. You are the energy that invites it. What's shifting in your life right now is more than just money. It's your entire relationship to deserving, to receiving, to trusting that the universe doesn't reward you because you've suffered enough. It responds to who you are becoming now. That shift from asking, "When will it happen?" to declaring, "I am ready," is where your power lies. The moment you step out of waiting energy and into embodiment, that's the moment things move. You've passed a deep soul test. Maybe no one else saw it. Maybe you didn't even realize how hard it was to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep hoping. But the universe saw. And now the reward is coming faster than you expect. In the form of clarity, of unexpected opportunities, of wealth that flows not just from work, but from alignment. Because when your energy is right, everything else follows. So here's what I want you to reflect on before you close this video. What are you finally ready to say yes to without guilt? What doors are opening that you've been too afraid to walk through? And most importantly, are you willing to receive what you've prayed for, even if it doesn't look exactly how you imagined? Let this be your moment to choose. To speak it into your life. Drop a comment below and write, "I claim my financial breakthrough." Let it be a declaration, a frequency, a signal to the universe that you are no longer waiting. You are aligning. You are receiving. And if this message stirred something in you, if you felt even one part of your spirit say, "This was for me," then I ask you to do 3 simple things that mean the world to this channel. Like this video to amplify the energy, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness so you never miss a message meant for your soul, and share this with someone whose light is just starting to return. Thank you for being here. Truly. Your presence, your attention, your willingness to reflect and grow, it's what gives this space meaning. And I say this from the deepest part of my heart. I hope you receive not just what you've asked for, but what you've always secretly wished for, and more. Because Leo, this isn't just your season. This is your return. Your rise. And your reign. Abundance is already circling your energy field. Reach for it not with fear, but with faith. Because you are not just the light. You are the one who was always meant to shine. Until next time, remember this, you're not chasing wealth, you're stepping into it. You are the key. You are the opening. You are the beginning of your own breakthrough.